without any further ado, Ms. Ellen, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Harlequin. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you guys taking time out of your Monday evening to spend here with us tonight. I hope to make it worth your while. I know I will with the information that I deliver. It's a matter of how you take that information as to whether it be worth your while or not, whether you act on it or not. Guys, we've changed up the format a little bit. I used to start off with our top recruiters and doing some recognition, and I announced last week that I'm not doing the top recruiters anymore. We're going to shift our focus off of recruiting. However, it still needs to be your focus, right? But doing the top recruiters board every week was not getting the results that I had hoped for as far as having more and more people engaged in the recruiting process. So if you want to drive your business, you're going to be recruiting anyway, and we don't need a leaderboard to recognize that right now. Also, on the DAC 1, DAC 2, DAC 4, the way reporting is coming out right now is a little difficult for me to track any of those promotions. So if you get a promotion and I haven't recognized you, let me know, and I'll do a slide for you on the next Zoom. But we're going to get into some training that I put together for tonight, get you guys thinking about what's going on in your business and the potential for your business. Okay, so let me get us into slide share mode and change the size of that screen. And Harlequin, you'll be glad to know I figured out what the problem was with my screen jumping around last week. It was a cable on my camera, and seemed to have that resolved. So hopefully that'll be the case.
I am so glad to hear that. It was getting a little bit crazy trying to follow you.
And I'm glad it was something that simple and I didn't need to replace any equipment, because I thought I only have had this camera since February, so it shouldn't be the camera. I did some troubleshooting and determined that that was the issue. So let's get back up to the beginning here. DAC is fueling the American dream, whether it's that small business owner that can't get the working capital that they need from their local bank, or whether it is you and I as independent agents with David Allen Capital trying to make additional money from the comfort of our own home to create time freedom and the ability to never have an employer again. I have achieved that. I achieved that after I became an entrepreneur in 1997, as Harlequin was talking about my history. Once I became a business owner and got the taste of working for myself, there's no going back. So I always tell people that I'm going to do whatever it takes to never, ever have a traditional job again. And I'm blessed and fortunate that I've been able to succeed at that venture. But DAC offers a world-class opportunity, but it's got a performance-based compensation plan. You can't just pay money to get started here and talk a bunch of other people into paying money to get started here and start earning money. You've got to go get customers. You can earn a significant income if you're going out and getting personal clients that pay. Some of them are going to pay bonuses. Some of the services will, and some of those are going to pay residual income. If you really want to make significant money, expand and multiply, then you can also build a team, and you can build a team nationwide throughout the United States and Canada, as our services are available in the United States. Some of our funding services are available in Canada, or payment processing is available there, but everything else that we market is available in the 50 states. But to be successful in DAC, success is going to start with you and your activity. If you're sitting on the sidelines and watching what's going on, and you're showing up at trainings, but you never take action on the training, then you're not going to have a lot of success, right? I want to see you succeed here, and I want to see you crossing that start line if you haven't already done that. If you've already started across the start line and crossed that, and are in motion, I want to help you have more success, right? But success starts with you and your activity. Remember, we have a performance-based compensation plan, and it has many complex layers, but don't let all of these complexities of how you get paid slow you down from getting started, right? You don't have to understand every little way that we get paid. You don't have to understand where every bonus comes from, although I do break it down for you. I know I did a healthcare training, and I've got another one that I have revised a little bit and incorporated a couple other things that are coming And when the time is right, I will release that, because you need to know how to navigate through the compensation plan to maximize your income and maximize your efforts. But the rest of it will all come in its due time as you do the basics. Okay. So we have bonuses that get paid one time. We have residual income, car allowances, expense accounts, revenue sharing, and you can even earn equity in the company as you move through the compensation plan and grow your business inside the business of David Allen Capital. But think of it this way. We basically have two ways of getting paid. Some services pay out a one-time bonus that gets paid out through our bonus plan, bonuses. All right. And then some services pay monthly on a residual basis that gets paid out through the residual plan on about the 15th of every month. But all services contribute revenue to the residual plan. So even a funding that pays a one-time bonus, residual revenue goes into the residual plan. And if it's more than 200, you're going to get paid on that one again the following month, and again the following month, depending if there is carryover volume or not. So everything that we do contributes to the residual plan, and the residual plan is really where we want to see a lot of our money coming from. So to really get you to think about our residual plan or bonus plan and how you're making money in general, I started out talking about having been an employee and getting the taste of freedom as an entrepreneur in 1997. And it really made me change the way I thought about money. I want you to think about how you, or change the way you think about money as well. So let's start with the basics. There's linear income versus passive income. Linear income means that the income a person receives comes from the work that he or she does. You work a certain number of hours every week and you get paid for your time. Linear income stops though when a person stops working. So if you're earning linear income and getting paid for your time, no work equals no income. On the other side, we have passive income, which is where money flows in at regular intervals without actively working for it, as opposed to earning it from a job. In general, passive income comes from a business, or building a business, or putting something that you own to work. So tonight, I want to quickly go through the cash flow quadrant with you. You may be familiar with the famous author, Robert Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki wrote the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. There's even a board game. He's been tremendously successful in the real estate space, but he's also a mentor to a lot of people who want to be in business for themselves and entrepreneurs. His mindset that is described in the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book really changed my way of thinking about money. So back to the linear income. This is where you have an employee trading time for money. You go to work, you get paid. You don't go to work, no pay, no money. Okay. Trading time for money, whether it's hourly or whether it is salary income. All right. Also, on the linear side of the quadrant, we have our left side and right side of the quadrant. On the linear side, we also have self-employed. Self-employed people can basically own a job, maybe a high-paid professional, such as an attorney or a doctor or a dentist or a chiropractor, where if they don't go to work and take care of their clients or the patients, then they don't get paid. So they're making more money, higher income, but still self-employed. I'll also put this into focus for you. If you are a DAC agent and you're wanting to build this business by yourself, if you're focusing mainly on funding clients, those that pay bonuses, you are in that self-employed category, and you basically own a job, because you can go get a funding client, get a really nice commission off of that funding client, but your next commission is determined by you going back to work and finding new clients. Now that's the funding bonuses, right? So you're still self-employed, but you own a job, meaning you got to go to work, you got to go get new clients, or you're not going to get paid. Then when we move over to the passive side, everything starts to change. Let me see, my slides aren't going here for some reason. There we go. I call that being self-employed a solopreneur, right? Now they're moving. All right. If you look at the left side of the quadrant, we see that 95% of the entire population resides on the left side of the quadrant. 95% of the people either fall into employee or they're self-employed solopreneur, where they're out there in a business that requires them to actively continue working to make money. And when we move over to the right side of the quadrant, where we see passive income, this is where business owners have moved from the solopreneur, where you own a job, over to being a business owner where you own a system that puts money to work for you. Or that passive income could be you being a team builder, or you're owning, say, example, real estate, where you have rental properties, and those rental properties or assets are generating a continual revenue for you, right? That's a system if you're owning real estate property. Or it could be a book of business where you are bringing on healthcare clients. I've been talking about healthcare now for, since we launched this product or launched this service in August. I've been talking about it because I'm so excited about not only the service that we're delivering to the community and the end user, but to the income potential that it drives for you and I, and really for the long term here, by building a system or using that system and creating cash flow. The last way is what typically is called the investor in the cash flow quadrant, but I'm using the I quadrant and making it the income producing assets. And that can be that productive team. It can be the assets of clients that you own through the healthcare and other residual services that we're going to be marketing. But basically, you need to shift your thought process from being an employee and on that left side of the quadrant, you want to move over to the right side of the quadrant. And everything we're doing here with DAC really gives you the ability to move to the right side, where you can be a business owner with income producing assets that are kicking off cash to you month after month after month. Now, as I said, 95% of the people reside on the left side of the quadrant. That's where you'll find 5% of the wealth, whereas only 5% of the population resides on the right side of the quadrant, but that's where 95% of the wealth is. So you tell me, do you want to be where 5% of the wealth is, or do you want to be where the majority of the wealth is? I think that's an easy answer, right? Now, as I talked about with healthcare has a broader market. I'm going to give you something to think about different tonight. Healthcare has that broader market, so it's available to individuals and businesses. The funding and line of credit, payment processing are only available to businesses. So if you're focusing on the B2B services, you have a more limited audience, right? But a larger, broader audience with healthcare, because anybody can become your client. And I have said that more agents will have initial success with services that can be marketed to individuals. I look at it this way. If you have a service that you can market to anybody and everybody, it gives you time to practice having conversations with an easier to market program that has a broader appeal and gives you a better opportunity of starting to get clients, right? And every time you get a new client, it helps build your confidence a little bit. Get another client, it helps build your confidence. You get a couple more clients or 3 more clients, and then you're changing your rank in the compensation plan, and you're changing the amount of money that you get paid on those clients. And then you get 5 more clients, and it bumps you up to another level in the pay plan. And you get 5 more, and it bumps you up to another level in the pay plan. And every time you keep adding layers and layers and layers of customers or clients in the healthcare arena, then you're building confidence, you're building your long-term income, and you're building your experience level, and you're building your communication skills with people, because you've talked to more people, the more customers you're bringing on. You may have heard today, I just brought on the client that I talked about last week that closed, and it was 18 healthcare clients that came on from one conversation. Okay. That one conversation could have been with a friend, with one person, or it could have been with a business that had 18 employees on healthcare. You choose whoever it is you go after. But here's what I want you to think about. David touched on this today about having conversations, and simplify to multiply, right? It is. We're really just a contact sport where you got to talk to people and let them know what we have to offer. Because if you're over here being a secret agent and nobody knows that you're in the financial services or that you have a healthcare division with your business, then nobody's ever going to turn to you when they have a need, right? So you got to get out there and advertise and market, verbally market. Wade did a great training on that last Wednesday on our Wednesday funding training with him, talking about how you get out into the chambers of commerce and the BNI groups. And you get into these local communities, because local is really where it is for you to be able to grow your customer base. But think about this. Let's look at the ratio. And this is covered in the game plan in your back office, right? The ratio, it takes about 40 business owner conversations to get one funding application in. Why is that? Well, you're going to need to sort through 40 business owners and say, hey, you don't know me directly, but my name is Ellen Winn. I just wanted to stop in and introduce myself. If you're in your local community, or maybe you're calling or texting people that you do have a relationship with, and you're doing that introduction. Hey, I don't know if you've heard, but I'm now in business funding. If I can ever help you grow, expand your business, getting money that you can't get from your local bank, I would love to be your go-to source. Or if you know anyone, right? Doing those text messages and all of that that's covered in the scripts in the Agent Resource Center. Excuse me. But 40 conversations to get to one application, because statistically speaking, 80% of business owners are going to need funding sometime in the next 12 months. But to find, out of 40 conversations, to find one person that needs funding right now, that's how that ratio is 1 out of 40, instead of everybody you talk to, right? It's a matter of timing. Now, you may have a conversation with someone and they don't need it now, but they're going to hold on to your information and come back to you next month, or 6 months from now, or next year, or a couple of years from now, right? It's a matter of planting those seeds. So to get 2 applications, which is what we really need to get one funding, you're going to need to have 80 business owner conversations to get one funding. Okay. 80 conversations will mean 2 applications, and we need to double the applications to really find someone that, once they've met the minimum qualifications, they go through, they get an offer, and they accept the offer. So about 80 conversations will turn into a funding. The average funding is $40,000, and $40,000 times 4%, which is 40% of business revenue generally. That means you're going to make about $1,600 off of 80 conversations. That boils down to about $20 a conversation, right? If your numbers fall into that. Okay. Well, in healthcare, if you're talking healthcare and you had 80 conversations, do you think you might build a few healthcare clients along the way as you're working towards getting those funding applications in? Because every single conversation that you have when you're looking for those funding clients can be about healthcare, and it would apply to them in some form or fashion. Either they don't have healthcare, they have a healthcare plan that's very expensive and they don't like it, or they're on Medicare, right? So one of those things are going to apply. And we've just got a broader audience and a greater ability, if we're leading with healthcare, to have that conversation that's going to lead to finding those business owners that can utilize our funding. So whatever you're doing, you want to keep it simple, and you want to be here to win. Being here to win means that you need to have conversations. Give me just a second. My screens are not moving forward. I'm going to pause share, see what's going on with that slideshow. I'll be right back with you. Okay, it's working on this end without the screen share going. Right back to it. I just had a couple more slides. I want to make sure I wasn't missing anything. Okay, so the next one is that consistent activity. Power segments, 15 minutes at a time, depending on how much time you have. We talked about this last week. We did a couple of power hours last week on Tuesday and Thursday. And I would like to hear from you guys that were on there to see what you got out of it, or did you take action? Did you reach out to some people? Tonight, instead of just Q&A, I'd love to hear some success stories or some challenges that you ran into when you were going through and reaching out to people during the power hour sessions. But consistent activity, if you can't do an hour at a time, break it down. If you're working a full-time job, take 15 minutes before you go to work. If it's too early to text people, I know one of the features I love on my phone is the ability to type up a text message and then schedule it to be sent at a delayed time, right? So if you wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and you think of somebody that you need to reach out to, go ahead and type up a text message and have it scheduled to send after 8 a.m. or whatever their waking time is, so that it goes out to them at a time when they might see it. And you're not having to remember later when you thought about it at 5 a.m., you're not having to remember later after you really wake up and get your day going that you were going to reach out to someone. It's automatically there for you. Okay. But break your day down into power segments. If it's 15 minutes, great. If it's 30 minutes or an hour or 2 hours, I like getting up from my desk at least once every hour, getting up, walking around, going and doing something. It's good for your health to get away from the desk and not just be sitting all day long. And then I wanted to say, we're not going to do Tuesday and Thursday this week. I've got appointments tomorrow. And then Thursday, I think I have some stuff going on, but I had some requests for afternoon instead of just morning. So I'm going to make myself available this Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern time to do a power hour session. I think that'll be great because tomorrow we have at 8 p.m. Eastern, we have our new business presentation with our company founder, David Rutz. He'll be live at daczoom.com at 8 p.m., starting at 8 p.m. Eastern time with a business opportunity overview. And then following that at 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, Tuesday, we will have payment processing training. So we'll have some of the experts from payment processing come on and be doing live training for us. And then Wednesday, Wade is going to be doing his Wednesday short 15-minute or so training on funding. So by the time we roll into Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m., we're probably going to have some good new stuff to add in to that conversation as we do a power hour. So go ahead and put that on your calendar. I'll send that out as a reminder. I'm going to get us off of screen share mode now. And Harlequin, am I forgetting to mention anything that is up and coming that I need to address?
No, I don't believe so, other than our usual Friday at 11:30, but that's all that I'm aware of.
Yeah. So, today, part of the conversation with David was, how did your September end up? How did your numbers look last month? Did you have personal volume? Did you have at least 50 personal residual revenue points that made you eligible to earn on a team, if you have a team that's producing anything? Or did you hit the 200 that's really required to be fully engaged in the compensation plan? I shouldn't say engaged, but fully active in the comp plan. That's the max that you need on a per month basis is 200 points. So you don't need to respond here, but I'm just asking you, what were your numbers last month? Have you looked at those? Have you measured those? And do you have a plan in place for the month of October to improve what your September looked like? And that's what I want to help you with on these live sessions where I volunteer my time to do calls with you, to do text messages with you, to help troubleshoot or whatever you may run across. Okay. So at this time, if you've got questions, comments, feedback, results, what you ran into on doing calls last week, I'd love to hear from you. Just go down to the reactions button at the bottom of the screen and do the raise hand feature there. Anybody? I see some of you that were on there last week doing the calls, doing the text messages. There we go. Lisa, I'm going to ask you to unmute. How are you doing tonight?
I am wonderful, Ellen. How about yourself?
I'm good, good. Good to hear from you.
Yes, thank you, thank you. So last week was good. I really enjoyed the power hour. I didn't get much response, but I do have when you say making calls, because I was like, I had asked for us to kind of get together and make a call. I spoke with the young lady today, and she said Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday would be good for her. So I'm excited that we'll be doing the power hour on Wednesday. So would
Okay.
that be something we do online together? Because I don't mind if you're open to that.
We can certainly do that. That'd be beneficial to everybody else. What I would like to do is maybe do you on the phone with them, and we can do that. What I don't want to do is have that person where everybody can hear their end of the conversation. I don't want any personal information divulged there, but I think they can get a gist for what's going on if you and I are both talking, even to somebody on the phone.
Okay, that sounds great. So she said anytime between 9 and 3. So I think the power hour will be a great time for us.
Okay, great. Now, Lisa, when I do a call with someone on the business opportunity, was that you?
No, what's it mean for the business?
No, it wasn't. Okay. I'm sorry. I did so many calls last week. I know I did a quick overview of the DAC opportunity for somebody that had been on those calls, and I was thinking it was you. So no worries.
Nice.
Well, glad you're bringing somebody to the table, and I appreciate your interaction. Did you have any questions, comments tonight?
No, I don't. I know that I reached out to a couple of businesses, and one actually called me back tonight. They are not non-profit, but I remember Wade mentioning that we can assist some of them. So I just said to him that wanted to send him my information, and if if he could work with it, then that would be great. He said, well, funding's always needed. And I was like, yes, we do know that. He said, so maybe I could use it for my for-profit business, like get a building. I was like, well, if that works for you, absolutely. We'll figure out how we can work together. And so I'm working on sending him my link now.
Okay. All right. So I'm glad you brought up the nonprofits. Okay. We can help nonprofits as long as they're not a church. We've not funded a church. David said, look, I don't want to fund a church and then them default on a funding and us have to go after a pastor. That's just not in spirit. So don't want to fund churches, but other nonprofits we can fund as long as over 50% of their revenue is coming in from some other source rather than just donations. So they've got to have a store or other revenue generation methods other than expecting 100% donations, right? So we can do that. As far as buying a building, if he has a for-profit business, unless he owns commercial real estate, then he's going to fall into the revenue-based funding, where we're going to look at what his monthly revenue is. And we can typically, if he meets our minimum requirements and doesn't owe somebody else money and isn't bouncing a bunch of checks and is operating through a business checking account, and also has a positive balance in his account when we're looking at it, we can typically get him qualified for between 75% all the way up to double of what their monthly revenue is. When looking at buying a building, we may not be the best resource for that unless they already own commercial property. If they own a piece of commercial property that's either a commercial building or could be undeveloped real estate that is zoned commercially, that they have equity in, that they could put up in our asset-backed funding, that might be money that they need, because they can basically do whatever they want with the money when they qualify it under one of our methods, either the revenue or the asset back. But the caveat on the asset backed is they've got to be generating at least 75,000 a month in revenue. So we've got several that apply for that because they have commercial real property, but then they don't meet the revenue requirements too. So think about this, that if they're borrowing a large chunk of money on asset back, they're wanting to see 75,000 in monthly revenue so that they know that business can afford to pay back the monthly payment. The 5-year loan with a balloon payment. So it's amortized over 30 years, 5-year payments, and then a balloon payment at the end. So the rates are good for them, and it's a good deal if they have good use for those funds. We always say that with all of our funding programs.
Right.
They have good use for the funds, we're their best option in most cases. But if they don't have plans where they're going to need that money and they're just wanting to put it in a bank, then we're probably not a good solution for them. It's too expensive.
Okay. Right, of course. Okay, well, I guess over time we'll find out.
Hey, you never know. Get good at asking the questions. Operate through a business checking account. How long have you been in business? We need at least 4 months. How much are you doing a month in revenue? Right. You're doing at least 3,000 to qualify for anything. Right. And then after you know how much they're doing in monthly revenue, ask them, well, how much is it that you're looking for? And if our ratio is between 75% to 200%, then if they're doing 30,000 a month and they're wanting 100,000, that's not going to be doable, right? Because 200% of 30,000, the most they would qualify for will be 60,000.
Right.
So when I have someone that applies and I'm talking to them and they, ask that question, how much is it that you're looking for? And they give me a number that's way bigger than I know they'll qualify for. I always just say, based on what you're telling me and based on our minimum requirements, the most that you would possibly get funded for if you qualified would be X amount. I know that's not as much as you're looking for, but would that be a number that would help you meet your goals? And that's how I always position it to them and get them to think, instead of saying, no, we can't do that much. I get them to think, is something better than nothing, right? So that helps.
That's good. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you bet. And while we're on this topic of commercial funding, again, back to last week when Wade did his training, he and David both were talking about what a crisis our commercial or businesses are going to be in over the next 18 months or so because of what's happening in the economy and what's been happening in the banking space. So as things get worse in the banking industry, it's going to open the opportunity for us to be able to help many more business owners, because if the banks are challenged, then they're going to be funding even fewer businesses than qualify right now. And that's where alternative capital with David Allen Capital is going to be their best solution, because we're going to find the best offer out there for them, and we're going to put them in a situation with a reputable lender. So just keep that in mind as we're planting seeds, more conversations, opening the door with healthcare. And then, oh, by the way, we also have a financial services division. If you ever need money and your local bank can't loan you the money you're looking for, we're your best go-to source, right? So just always getting fluent with that conversation, whether you lead with financing or whether you lead with healthcare, being able to do that switch over to the other division of our company. All right. Thank you for your questions there, Lisa.
Ellen,
I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Ellen, I'm going to interrupt you for a minute first, if you don't mind. In talking to Wade with the asset-backed funding, our program is not really geared towards people purchasing new commercial property. It's for people who already either have some and, like you said, are wanting to use that to borrow against, or if they are refinancing or wanting to get second or third positions on that commercial property. Mostly because of all of the requirements and the timing to get the find out the value of the property and all that stuff. It's just
Right.
not a good fit for us, but we are phenomenal if they're wanting to use the equity in one property for something else, or if they want to refinance, because right now, most commercial properties are financed for 5 years with a balloon payment. So a lot of those businesses are getting to that 5-year point and they're like, I can't pay off this balloon because they've had it during COVID and they can't find anybody else to fund it.
But DAC to the rescue.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks, Harlequin. Thanks for that added comment there. Hey, Minor Henderson, what do you have tonight?
How you doing, Miss Ellen? Can you hear me?
I can. Hey, it is good to hear you.
Can you
live.
hear me very well?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Minor?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Hey, I had a question regarding the healthcare. Regarding the healthcare, I have some family members that have they're on Medicare and stuff, and I was wondering, will our health share benefit them as well?
It will not. There's an age limit on our health share. It's good for people between the ages of 8.
Yeah, I know the 65. I think 65.
Say that again.
Yeah, I say I think I know like they can't be over 65.
Right. When they turn 65, they're eligible for Medicare. So if they're on Medicare, then they would not benefit from ours. Now, if they're on Medicare for disability, they could potentially be on our plan if it's not a physical healthcare related disability, but that's usually what it is. So probably not a good fit. Our health share program is really between the ages of 18 and 64 for people that are relatively healthy to get started on it, not heavy smokers, and certainly not alcohol or drug abusers, generally in good health. But as I always say, when is the best time to buy health insurance? When you don't need it, right? So that's why we want to get people exposed to our program, because it is very inexpensive compared to major medical plans out there and much lower out of pocket costs. And I think better coverage altogether. It's got so many things that are wrapped up in our benefits package that the other plans just don't offer unless you've got a lot of add-ons there. So, Minor, it's good to hear from you. I'm used to seeing your comments on my YouTube channel, so it's good to have you on here live tonight.
I'm always watching you and Ms. Heineken. I love y'all.
We love you too. I always appreciate your comments. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Hey, Ray, I see you've got a hand up tonight. What do you have for us? Okay, you're unmuted, Ray. I'm not hearing you though. Do you have your microphone on? Shows you're unmuted. Do you have the right microphone selected on your computer or your phone? We got you muted again. Now you're muted. Okay. While you're trying to do that, I'm going to ask you to unmute again. Maybe we accidentally muted you after. Ray, can you hear? Can we hear you? Not hearing you.
Can you hear me?
There you are. Yes, ma'am.
Hear me? Okay.
Go ahead.
So my question is, this was from the
You're breaking
okay.
up. I don't know if you're on a mobile.
My question is, no, not mobile. I don't know
Your voice is just really spotty, so it's like you've got really poor reception. You want to try typing your question in the chat there? Because
Okay,
I'm not hearing everything you're saying. Sorry about that, Ray. I know you always have to. One more time. Try one more time. I can hear you. I can hear you. Go ahead and just try your question. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and mute you because it's just really garbledy. The audio is very garbled. So you can either text your question in the chat or you can reach out to me individually. Faye asked if these calls are going to be recorded, the Zooms. Yes, they are recorded. I post mine on my YouTube channel each week after we finish. And the DAC Zooms are also recorded and posted on the DAC Zoom as well. Okay, well, guys, if we don't have any other questions or comments, we'll wrap up. Don't forget, tomorrow night, it's a really big night. Make sure you're inviting people to come see the business opportunity. I see we've got Faye's hand up now. I'm going to ask Faye to unmute.
Hello.
Hey, Faye.
Hey, hi. I'm sorry, I should have been more clear with that. So the recordings I was referring to, what you're going to do, the power calls, when you're going to get with the reps when they're practicing calling their customers. I was referring to those. Would those be recorded?
Gotcha. Yes, I didn't record the first one. I forgot. And the second one I did record. I haven't posted it yet. I wanted to go back through it and make sure there's not any information on there that didn't need to be, and then I will record. So yeah, the intent is that we record those and post those each week. And sometimes I'll do more than one a week. Just really want to see people start ramping up activity, right? And make good use of my time and your time while we're doing those. So that's the intent. But yeah, we'll record it and get those posted. Thank you for the question.
Now, is that going to be every Wednesday?
No, last week I did it Tuesday and Thursday. This week we're doing Wednesday just to have something in the afternoon. But until we kind of get a flow with who's going to participate and the number of people participating and really getting it down, it's just kind of a week by week thing right now. But we'll get to some consistency on that for sure.
Okay, and then you'll give us an update on that and
I will.
You'll the email or text on that.
Send out as well.
Okay, great. And then I do have another question that just popped up too. On the healthcare, I went into the back office just got in. So I was wondering, where do I go to look at the material on the healthcare of how much the commission would be?
Okay, it's real simple. Everything about healthcare and all of our services is located in the Agent Resource Center. So you go down to the footer of the website, davidallencapital.com, and click on Agent Login. And then when you go through there, you're going to use your username or agent ID number, log into the back office. If you don't know how to do that, then you can click Forgot Password. It'll email you a reset password link. When you get into the back office, on the left-hand menu is a link over to the Agent Resource Center. When it first opens up, it opens on the Getting Started page of the website, which is your basic training when you first are brand new. But then if you look across the top of the menu, you'll see for healthcare, you want to go to consumer services, and there's a little drop down there, and you'll see a link for healthcare. Healthcare has the training video, the launch video. It has the videos that are posted on your healthcare website, 2 of those, and then there are marketing materials there as well. So if you just watch those, you don't really have to be an expert on the healthcare. The best way for you to learn about healthcare is to go through those basic trainings, pique people's interest, get them forwarded over to the healthcare team, and then you're welcome to join in on those calls when somebody schedules a call with that. But follow what I'm putting out, because My focus is leading with healthcare. So if you'll follow the training that I'm doing on healthcare, that'll help broaden your horizon on leading with that and being aware of how that program works. But it's really simple. Refer them
Right.
and let the healthcare team take it from there, right?
And then it tells about the commission on that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So the commission, you're going to earn between 20 and 50%. Here's what the comp plan says. And then I'm going to put it in layman's terms for you. The comp plan says you're going to earn between 20 and 50% of the residual revenue. Well, the residual revenue for every one of our healthcare plans is 40 residual revenue points. And if you're making 20% of that on the low end, that means you're making $8 per healthcare client. If you're on the high end where you can make 20 to 50%, 50% of the 40 is $20. So in layman's terms, you're going to make between $8 and $20 for every plan member that you sign up or plan. A family plan is one, an individual plan is one, a member plus family is one. So member plan is going to pay between $8 and $20. The way you go from 8 to 20 is to sell more plans. Once you have 5 plans, that puts you at 200. When you have 10 plans, then you're making $10. And about every 5 plans that you go up, it's going to add $2 per plan, all the way up to when you've got 50 customers, then you're making $20 per plan on every one of the plans that you have sold and every plan that you'll sell moving forward, as long as you stay at that higher commission.
Right, which is residual.
It is, which means you get paid that every single month on every plan that is still paying their monthly membership for the plan. So if you had 1,000 customers, you'd be making $20,000 a month in residual income.
Well, I was just asking because I just got my first healthcare customer.
Yay, congratulations. That's great.
Yeah.
That means you're talking to people, because that didn't happen by accident. So congratulations, Faye. Way to go. Way to get the conversation started.
All right. But thank you for the answers to the questions. I appreciate it.
You bet. My pleasure. Let's see. I've got some comments over here.
Yeah. And Ellen, Faye, this is a question that I had asked David on the healthcare. If your client signed up last month in September, they're going to make their first payment in October. They will send everything to DAC in November. And then you get paid on the 15th of December for the November volume. So just so you don't go and say, well, wait a minute, where's my money? Plan on it not being there until December. If they signed up after October 1st for an October or for a November start, you're going to get paid in January.
And the good news is there may be a delay on you when you first start signing up your first customer, but if you keep adding to that every month, it's just going to be a snowball effect and you won't miss a beat on the month. So a couple of months out on that first commission. So yeah. Okay. And let's see, I've got Ray.
Thank you, Harlequin.
Watch the Bank Breezy funding training from last Wednesday. Are the cards that Wade showed already in the back office or in Canva? Harlequin,
I can answer that one.
I'm not sure what the question is.
Ray, if you go into the Agent Resource Center, then under each of the different categories, it has the connect cards for each type of business. So there's funding cards, there's healthcare, each of the different categories has connect cards as well as brochures. They're all in that category, and you can pull them into Canva and customize them, put your name, your QR code, your contact information, and underneath every single one of those documents, Tyler has a video that shows you how to customize them in Canva. And then once you have it in Canva and you've got your contact information, You can then save it and download it to your computer, and you can either print up some, or you can send it to a printer, or Canva can print them, or you can go to any other printer that you want to. You know, if you want to have them printed locally, you can do that.
Okay, so I'm over in the Agent Resource Center, and I think you said for every service, I'm only seeing those under the business funding. There's not a card like that in the healthcare section. The only thing you can print out in healthcare is either the health share brochure, the health share flyer, and then you've got image. So one of those Connect card type cards is not available for that service. But under business funding, you do have this split card that we were able to order on those. So I'm sorry, Harlequin, thank you for answering that. I didn't know if Wade had shown a new card and I missed it. So I wasn't sure what Ray's question was. So thanks for helping out with that.
Yeah, he was showing several different cards, and he had some that had ERC and funding on them, and he had half a dozen of them. But yeah, the other thing, like you said, we don't have a Connect card right now for the healthcare, but we do have brochures, and there's brochures for all of the services that we have. There's at least some type of marketing material. So
yes, you got to have that if you're going to be out face to face. Okay, James Doswell, what you got tonight, James?
Okay. Hello. Hey, everybody. Happy Monday.
Yes, it is.
On those cards that Ray referred to, the ones that I remember seeing, they had a lot of, Bank Breezy all across the front of them. Are those the ones that she's referring to? Because they didn't have like DAC, it just had Bank Breezy and a whole bunch of stuff. Are those the ones she's asking about?
he did have some in there that had the Bank Breezy logos. I think part of that was Wade also uses that that presentation for some of the companies that are white labeled for DAC.
Okay.
Some independent companies that are, so he had the same slideshow and he was showing it to other people as well.
Yeah, because when I saw that, I was like, can we use those? It's got all that Bank Breezy stuff across there. Okay, never mind.
Thanks, Harlequin. I was busy reading a question from Chester. Chester, are you where you can unmute? I see your question. I have a clarification on that.
I don't see Chester still in the Zoom.
Okay.
You may have.
Am I unmuted?
Yes,
Oh,
you
okay.
are. Yes, you are. Okay. So you said the person you spoke with about healthcare last week did decide to go with us. We're waiting for someone from Clearwater to get back with them. So tell me how far in the process they went when they made the decision. Have they already done a one-on-one session with the healthcare team?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. So we did that last week, and she thought the agent thought that she had sent over, I guess, the enrollment information, but it was not. It wasn't sent over. So so I followed up with her today because we were trying to get in contact with her, and she did say she sent the email out, and the effective date would be 10/1, but that he needed to enroll today. And he sent me an email this evening and said he never heard from the agent. So I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sure there's some miscommunication there. One, I would encourage your client to look in their spam folder to make sure that that message didn't get dumped in spam, or his promotions folder. I know Gmail has those type folders. If he's using Gmail, it could easily be in one of those other folders. But the good news is, if it's supposed to be effective 10/1, your client can actually enroll in the program up until the 15th of this month, and it be retroactive back to the 1st of the month. So
Okay,
we
that's
haven't
good to
missed,
know.
yeah, we haven't missed that deadline. So just follow up. Now, were you in the middle of that? Were you getting those emails too directly from the benefits person?
I just saw the one where she said that it was, she thought she had sent it basically. It was in her drafts. So I did see that one, but that's the only one that I was on.
Okay, so you weren't included in the initial schedule a call where they were including you
I
on
was
the
on that one. Yes, I was on that one,
Okay.
but
And who
after
was the
that,
benefits advisor that was working with you guys?
Tina.
Tina. Okay, yeah, Tina's great. So you should have an email from Tina, right? So just reply back to Tina's email from the, even if it's just that initial scheduling Zoom, it'll go directly to her. Just send her an email and say, hey, Tina, can you please reach out to my client? Tell her the name. Say he said he has not received the link to enroll. He's ready to get started, and she'll reschedule that.
Yes, I sent her a text out earlier, and then I sent out the email to let her know that he was ready to get started. And then that's when she sent the email based on what I had sent her. So
Okay.
I'll just follow up with her again.
Yeah.
And
And it may have been a miscommunication there, but if he knows which plan he's signing up for, he can actually sign up for it directly on the site there as well through
okay,
the Clear DAC. But if he
okay,
feels like, if he's already done that consultation with her and he knows which direction he's going in, he can sign up on his own, or he can do a 15-minute call, because that's really about all it takes. If they've already done the 30-minute Q&A on what plan they want, another 15-minute max is all it takes to actually get signed up on the plan and get it started.
okay.
And
Okay.
15 minutes is really longer than is needed, but it usually ends up being 15 minutes after they talk and ask her questions and so on. So,
Okay. All right. Thank you, Miss Ellen.
you bet. And if you run into issues with that tomorrow and you're not getting a response, please let me know. I've worked with Tina now on several one-on-ones, and she's great. She's just been very responsive. She's reached out to me by text. She's reached out by phone call a couple of times, giving me some updates and so on. So I'm sure that communication ended up just getting overlooked somewhere. So thank you.
Either that, or like you said, it may be in his spam, because I did follow up with him, and I did remind him or let him know that she said she had sent out the enrollment email, and I asked, did he receive it? But he didn't say yes or no. So
Gotcha.
I'm not really sure.
Well, good. And congratulations on getting one across the finish line. That's exciting for you, the success there, but even more exciting for your client, because they're going to be in a program that is going to really put them in a good position financially, not just health wise, but financially, because they'll be saving money on a monthly expense for healthcare. And then should they ever run into a situation where they really need healthcare, they're going to be minimizing their financial risk with their out of pocket. So good job.
Thank you. I'm excited. So thank you so much.
You bet. My pleasure. All right. Anybody else before we wrap up? No more questions. Let me see, make sure I'm not missing any hands raised. All right, guys. I'm glad to hear some conversations going on out there, and I love hearing success stories. So y'all just keep it going. Keep talking to people. There's never a situation that you're going to run across that we can't help you through. If you're on your own with it, just be honest. Say, hey, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that question. I'd love to get you on the phone with our experts so that I don't give you wrong information. Or you don't have to say, I don't know. You can say, I don't want to give you wrong information. So let me get you over and get you connected with our experts, and then get them through the form on your site and taking that next step. One thing before we do finish out, though, important for you to understand: when somebody fills out that first form on your DAC site, unless they take further action when they get over on whichever service we market, you know, whether they're filling out the first form on funding, whether they're filling out the first form on ERC or healthcare. That first form is really a lead form to let you know that somebody is interested in what you're marketing, right? But unless your client takes this next step to the next form or next part of the website and takes further action, they're in between, they're in limbo, right? I talked to an agent on the team who were talking about healthcare, and I said, what do you think about it? And he said, well, I'm not really impressed so far. And I'm going, how's that? And he said, well, I filled out the form on my website and nobody's reached out to me yet. Well, nobody reached out to him because he did not take further action. Once he filled out the healthcare lead page, it opened up all of the self information there on the Clear DAC site where you can go in and look at everything. You can request a quote, you can schedule a call, or you can just look at things and not take any further action. And that's where he was in that in between. So make sure you understand that about all the services. They got to take the next step or they're really not in contact with our professional team on whatever service it is that we're marketing. Okay. So that's up to you to reach out to the customer and nudge them along in the process to take that next step to get over to the professionals. All right, guys, I appreciate you all. I will see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern time on our business opportunity presentation. Don't come alone. This is much more fun if you bring some friends with you. So bring some friends, come out to see the BizOp at 8 o'clock, and then followed up with 9 p.m. payment processing training. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great night, everyone. Take care.